Yo, what's going on, my Destiny dudes? Alright guys, I want to go over something that I had read the other day, and I found it to be a little interesting because it seemed as if people were shrugging it off. And I get why they want to shrug it off, but I'm just saying, I think there's a bit of validity to it, and I do have a bit of history to back it up. So, I'm talking about what's been going on with Trials of Osiris. This video is going to officially be my opinion piece on what's been going on lately, last couple of weeks or so, with the Trials of Osiris, both the matchmaking as well as the actual playlist and what they're trying to do, at least what I believe they're trying to do. Bungie does have good intentions. The CEO of Bungie, a guy named Pete, I'll put his picture up somewhere around here, he literally wants people to play with friends. That's how he puts it. That's how the company kind of runs everything. They want people to have amazing experiences and play together as friends. So, with that in mind, you have to remember that matchmaking is designed to protect you more or less casuals from someone that may not be so casual. They want to protect people from having a 5-0 experience. Long term, that really does, it's not that it hurts the game, but it really does hurt the experience, per se. And I do believe that that is a priority for them, to get rid of something that might be a 5-0. The problem is they're trying so hard to fine-tune these matches. They're trying so hard to control who you do and who you don't face that it's going to be bad one way or the other, man. I think they really need to come up with, like, the identity of what Trials is supposed to be. If it is supposed to, in fact, be a casual experience, then make it one. Anyway, that's off topic. Let's get back on topic. Trials of Osiris, what they did in the beginning of it was they had done a card-based matchmaking. Ended up being really well. Everyone loved it. So, why would you change it? Well, they have another thing coming out here called Witch Queen, and I think they're trying to fine-tune matchmaking in the long term. So this would be the right time to do it, because if you're doing something when you only have, let's say, 100,000 players versus 600 to 800,000 players, you can't necessarily tell what the or you can tell, it's just not as good information-wise as numbers that have a higher rate of, participation. So it's a better opportunity for them to figure things out now, because they can always remarket Trials of Osiris later, which I do believe they plan on doing now that they fixed up the vendor. The other thing I wanted to mention, there is a conspiracy theory around this, about Bungie taking Trials and putting it on a weekend. It's a bad map, and then the win-based solution was one of those things that people were saying, oh, that sounds like conspiracy theory. I don't think their mistrust is ill-placed. I actually think that it makes sense. There's good reason for people to mistrust Bungie when it comes to this type of stuff. There's actually a marketing term that they've done several times now. It's known as negative intent marketing. What does that mean? It means you irritate people, you aggravate them, and then you fix the problem that you yourself created. They've done this several times. They've done it with the armor synthesis with 801. They've done it with Eververse. Do you guys remember when Eververse was a problem back in the day? It's still kind of a problem, but they actually had a DLC come out where they had, I think, 50% of the DLC in Eververse. So you basically bought a DLC, and then you had to buy more things in Eververse, because that's where, most of the content was, basically, or at least half of the content. That's pretty wild. And then they reversed that next season. So remember, there's other examples. One of the examples that comes to mind for me, Bungie actually did things stealth-wise in Destiny 1, and this is where I started to mistrust them a bunch. They had implemented skill-based matchmaking in Destiny 1 without telling anybody. They told us after the fact, not before. Now, not that they need to tell us anything, man. They're a company. They can do what they want. And if it were me, that would be the better way to gain data. If you have people that know that it's going on, they might not participate. So, taking all these things into account, right? The fact that skill-based matchmaking was done before in stealth. The fact that we have the players, the fact that we have things like Eververse, for example, and we have a CEO that wants people to play together, it kind of makes sense to me that they would do something like a negative intent marketing strategy. The Destiny community is pretty smart. They figure things out, right? But the thing is, they're still just as gullible as anybody else, right? They're still very easy to manipulate, and that is what I believe they did. I think they manipulated this one weekend on a really terrible map, and then they kind of came back as like the good guys by switching it off immediately. There wasn't much of a need for them to change how Trials was being done. Past week 1, everyone loved it. It was a raving success. Must be changed, right? Doesn't make a lot of sense, in my opinion. But they did what they did, and here we are. I think it's good strategy, marketing-wise, because now they can justifiably, in a bunch of different ways, go back to this whole, well, now we know with 100% certainty that this is the way that the community wants it to go. We have heard your feedback, and we are listening. A good old one-liner that they like to use all the time. Anyway, that's my opinion on it. I don't know that it's necessarily conspiracy. I think it's clever marketing on their part. And yeah, they are trying to protect the casuals. They're trying to get the casuals to play. So they're tempting them with things like loot and the fact that they're not going to get 5-0'd. Me personally, I really like the objective base. I really like the different strategies that I saw when there was a capture the flag on one side or the other. I thought that was super cool. I'd like to see more things like that thrown into the mix, if not randomly. I don't know. I enjoy that. It switches it up enough that you can't just go slay out. You know, you actually have to hold an objective, defend one, or go after one. So there's different strategies that are involved. We use different weapons, and we even use Witherboard, which I thought was cool. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening to my opinion piece today. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. You know, I appreciate you guys. Yeah, have a good one.